Hey guys, so um, this is Mahi here. I've never actually revealed my face in marathons before, so this is actually my first time using a face cam, which is cool. But that doesn't matter because the main thing that really matters is that I will be running Axiom Burst 2, and this is a submission for UKSG. So I obviously hope I get in, although if I don't get in, it's fine. But essentially, Axiom Burst 2 is the sequel to Axiom Burst 1. Chronologically, it is technically a prequel, but still, the point still stands. And it is actually raining outside, so there's gonna be some background noise. Although it should be fine because you can still hear my voice. But essentially, Axiom Verse 2 was released by Tom Happ less than 2 weeks ago, so actually, the speedrun route we use for No Major Glitches, which is the category I will be running, is actually kind of new. Like, the general gist of the route has been set. Like, it is generally the same for now, but like, we make minor changes to it that save like 20 or 30 seconds per change, so we are actually finding new ways to bring the time down. As of now, the world record is 25 minutes for No Major Glitches, though we are actively bringing it down yet again. Like, soon it will be like 24 minutes, and well, I guess we can get started with the run now. So right off the bat, we just wait like 10 seconds or something for the opening cutscene. You know, like 11 or something. And then we get the pickaxe, we save and quit, and then we go forward and just do the intro in general. We do 2 save and quits in the intro because it is actually faster to do those. And here's the first one. So essentially, it saves a few seconds in-game time, which is actually the primary method of timing this game because if we did it RTA, loads would actually be a thing. Like, I don't know how much loads actually matter in this game yet, but like if you have a PC that isn't necessarily bad but that isn't too good, you can actually lose time to things like lag regardless. Like, this game can actually lag in some places. But anyways, now we are going to make it to Glacier or something, you know, we are gonna exit Antarctica. And you can actually see my inputs because I'm using Snowboard right now. And, well, now we exited Antarctica and we are going to Glacier. As you can see, we entered the bridge, you know. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. So now you just go through this door. You know, the movement is kind of self-explanatory. You know, the first 3 minutes are a little chill. Although, if you make too many mistakes at the beginning, usually you just reset. Like, there are people that sometimes just reset if they make too many mistakes in this part, because obviously it is kind of bad to start out with like 3 seconds of time loss, but ultimately it isn't a big deal. Like, people just reset because it's early on in the run and they don't want to be behind so quickly. But anyways, as soon as the water starts rising, we hold right and we actually drown as quickly as possible, which will essentially be the fastest way of getting through all of this. And this beginning is actually pretty good so far. Not perfect, but it is actually pretty solid. You know, could have been a bit better, but obviously I cannot complain because that was actually pretty good. Now we are making it to Glacier here. So you wanna start out by obviously going left, and well, essentially you just make it through and avoid these enemies here. They are not that hard to avoid usually, so you just make it through here. You fall through, and then you land on this platform, and you land on those two platforms, and then you jump off them, and you want to make it up here because this is where the boomerang is, and we are gonna need it in order to do this. Unless, of course, we were doing it with major glitches, in which case we would be able to skip the boomerang, but it is just good to use the boomerang and no major glitches, because obviously we can't use any major glitches to skip it, and no major glitches, hence the category name, obviously. And you hit this, you make it here, and you just wanna avoid the enemies in general, like you don't want to mess up too bad. Although it is fine if you mess up, but now we got the ledge grab and we can climb here and just get through this, and now we can make it into the next zone. I always forget the names of each zone and everything, but we fell off. That's a little dumb, but anyway. So, like, usually you just don't fall off. I don't know what happens there, but anyways, it doesn't matter anyway because this is a marathon run, but that was a little weird. Anyways, you just wanna avoid bushes because they slow you down, and now we are gonna go towards the left here. And you wanna go up here. It isn't necessary, but this is how I do it anyways. You just wanna make it through all of this, and then now this is where we actually go towards the next big zone of the game, and I accidentally missed that bush. So essentially what you wanna do is you wanna get both the ability to hack enemies and also the ability to use the drone, because obviously they are necessary for the current no major glitches route, and that is just fast in general. You can avoid this bomb, but I don't avoid that bomb enemy. I accidentally took a hit there, but it should be fine as long as I don't die. Anyways, you wanna hit this yard and start pressing the hack button as soon as possible, right? And you wanna climb this, and also activate this and climb it. It isn't that particularly hard once you get it down, and well, yeah. So this part usually isn't too nerve-wracking, but now that I have low HP, I gotta be somewhat careful. It shouldn't be a big deal, hopefully, as it is going right now, because I'm not, I didn't die, thankfully. But, since I had low health there, I was actually kind of nervous there. But anyways, we managed to survive, so in general, you just want to make it through this, and then there we go. So now you wanna save and quit. There's a reason we saved there besides for healing ourselves, because this is actually an important part of the next sequence break that we are about to do. It isn't really a sequence break, as in, you don't actually just ignore a part of the story really, but I still count it because you make it to this area a little early. And now we just save and quit there. You know, you've gotta time it like as soon as Syndra stands up, you wanna save and quit there. You know, like if you see the tools in the top right change, then that's your cue for when to save and quit. You know, other people came up with this, I didn't. So yeah, shoutouts to them. And also Wactor Rose came up with a way of doing something similar but with the map. So you can actually do fast travel while you're going back to Endra. Now we're gonna pick up this urn here. We're gonna break it. You know, we're gonna get off the drone and do the same thing again. And now we're gonna enter our first breach area. You know, our first breach portal. And we are gonna get the hook, which can be useful if you're playing as the drone, because it helps you get through stuff. Like, you can actually grab onto ledges with it. Like some ledges, if they are flat. If you've got flat ledges and you wanna grab onto them, then if you're using the drone, then it is extremely useful to be able to grab onto those with the hook. So now we are gonna make it through this. That went perfectly. Once you get it down, it isn't ridiculously hard, but it is still pretty tricky regardless. Make it through that optimally. So yeah, that was cool. So now you wanna go ahead, you know. You can take a hit from some of these enemies, but you don't want to take too many hits if you're YOLOing it. Although you can just save, so it doesn't matter really. You can actually YOLO it and make up for the time you would lose anyway by avoiding those hits. You can save there and it is only 2 seconds. So yeah. So now this part is a little rough actually. So we made it through that without taking dangerous hits. So now we are gonna use the hook to get through this quickly. So you wanna make sure to not take many hits, or that is bad news, obviously. You know, especially because this is actually a YOLO route. We used to just save and quit and make it here, but now we YOLO it, so... you jumped over that caterpillar there, and now you wanna avoid this, you know, all of those enemies, because obviously getting hit by them is bad, and that was clean actually. That was pretty good. So now there's another upcoming sequence break, and this is where things get heavy in that department, you know. So essentially, we are gonna skip the rest of steps, or whatever this area is called, and we are gonna go straight to the breach finder, or that's what I call it anyways. So essentially, this sequence break was actually found by the community, and then people such as Octorose and Remy found out how to do it quickly with this specific setup. You know, Octorose was the first one I saw using this setup, the overall setup, and runs like... She's actually pretty good at the game. So yeah, she's actually one of the pros at this game. But anyways, Remy found a slightly faster and also more consistent way of doing this. So that's the one I use. but Actor Rose already used like the general threat for that sequence break. So now you wanna save and quit, and this is why we saved a little earlier, because we are actually gonna use the, how's this called now? So we are gonna use the bridge finder to then make it into another bridge portal, you know, the second one. And what we are gonna do is we are gonna get the ability to hover. So yeah, that's pretty good. The ability to hover is extremely useful because you can use it to obviously hover, and there's also speed tech that you can do with it, where you can grapple onto things and then get a boost from that, and you can maintain that boost in midair by essentially using the hover ability. You're gonna see some of that in a little bit. It does save a bit of time, and throughout the run it can save over 10 seconds. So it is actually pretty useful. So you wanna avoid the spider, and that was the first boost of the run using the hook, and as well as the ability to hover. You know, I call the grapple the hook because I like to call it the hook. And I don't think it really matters too much what you call it. So now you wanna hover here, and I could have done a quick hover there. I could have done another boost there, but I chose not to. Like, I kind of forgot to do it in that specific moment. But now we can do another one, so it doesn't really matter. So you can technically do a hover there, but it is hard. But anyway, we just hit that urn, and it gives us the ability to fast travel, which can actually help us a lot in this run. So now we're gonna fast travel here and get the shockwave ability, which will help us blow up things, you know, in general. We can just blow up enemies. And we can also use it to break down rocks, because if you actually use the shockwave near rocks, even though they don't blow up, if they are hanging onto a ceiling, they usually just fall off. So yeah, the shockwave is actually pretty useful, which is why we are gonna try and get it. So there's this upcoming optional boss, and obviously since it is optional and it also deals a lot of damage, we are gonna go over it so that it doesn't even annoy us in the first place. Like, you can just ignore the boss. It is actually that simple. So you grapple onto this, then you just make it through this. Hover a little bit if you want to, although it doesn't really make that much of a difference. And there we go. Now we are gonna pull off the drone and do the map thing I spoke of, which Dr. Rose found. You know. So it saves like 3 seconds if you do it optimally, which I obviously did in this situation, although I did it a little bit slow, so it was more like 2 seconds probably. So now you wanna make it through this, you know. That bomb just kind of messed me up a little bit, you know, that enemy that just blew up in front of me. So I don't know what to expect. I might as well just save here, just in case. Because it would be a little silly to die here. Especially because there's these spaghetti flowers, you know. Oh my god, seriously. Oh. I barely survived that. What even was that? So essentially we just make it here, warp to that save, We did the map thing again. And now we are gonna get to the somewhat hard part of the game, which would be end game. It isn't the hardest part because obviously there are parts in mid game that are just absolutely ridiculous, and I actually got through most of the hard parts, but there's still a few left. So we can't get overconfident in this part of the game. And I just actually missed that spider. So you can actually YOLO it and just throw the drone up here without killing the second spider, but if you don't kill the second spider, it can mean bad news. Because it can actually kill you while you're off screen. And that is obviously bad news. And as you can see, I also almost got sniped and almost died. There's been many close calls in this run so far, which is why it is good that you know, we are doing some safety saves. Regardless, you'll be able to fast travel and make it like less than a minute away from where you died. But it is also good to save anyways, because it also heals you. So now we are going to do more hovers, and we are gonna do a skip that was recently found that you can actually do in order to save a decent chunk of time. And by warping there, we also healed as if we had saved. So yeah, that's essentially. So now we are just gonna walk forward, aligning ourselves with this, and then we are gonna use the boomerang to hit that switch, as you can see. And we just got there early and saved like half a minute, maybe a little less, a little more. I don't know how much that saves, but according to my bad math, it is more like 25 or something, which is a pretty good amount. That skip was found recently by community members. It was Lemmy who found it, if I recall correctly. And then BGR recorded it, you know, video game roulette. And yeah, that skip isn't that particularly hard once you get it down. So you do have to get used to it a little, because it is frustrating at first. But once you get it down, it isn't actually that hard. Like at most you just fail it like twice, and that loses like 10 seconds out of the 25. Each time you fail it loses like 5 seconds, which isn't a big deal. Or it can lose a little more if the drones annoy you. You know, those little drone enemies that are actually kind of deadly. You know, if they annoy you, it can actually lose like 8 seconds, but still, it isn't that big of a deal if you miss it like once or twice. So you wanna kill those 2 spiders and take the drops that they give you, because it actually refills you. And now you wanna hit the spider as well as hack it. And then it just falls off there. You just climb here. You wanna hack this spider. It isn't necessary to hack all those spiders, and there's actually a riskier way to do it with the drone without carrying Gendra there. But it is extremely hard to do it with the drone. There are people who are extremely consistent at it, such as Tracer, License to Build, and Dr. Rose, but I personally wasn't able to get good at doing it that way. And regardless, this is a marathon run, so obviously, well, a marathon's of making anyway for a marathon. So if I were doing a marathon run, I would want to play it as safe as possible there, without like literally dying in the spider room. Most of the community members call it the spider room, and they say that it is the hardest room in the game, which is why obviously you wanna play it safe there. If you use those strats I used, it is actually kind of easy. But if you risk it, it is a different story altogether. So obviously you don't wanna risk it. So now we're approaching the end of the game, kind of. We wanna avoid these laser enemies that shoot lasers, or you wanna hit them instead of the lasers because they actually barely even deal any damage in the first place. If you just hit them instead of the lasers, like if you just bunk against them. And whoa, that was actually kind of fast. Not as fast as you could optimally do it, because it could have been a second faster, but it is still a little faster than not risking it there. Now, I could use a safety save, but to be fair, even if I die, I can just safety work there. That's the good thing about this game, that it is actually kind of beginner friendly. Like, if you die, you can just fast travel, and it doesn't matter too much. And now you just wanna use hook to all of this. And this is actually kind of a scary part. Like, usually if you're at high enough health, it is almost impossible to die. But even still, that boss right there that shoots lasers, it's actually kind of hard to avoid. Now we wanna use the bridge attractor here, which we got by doing a shortcut that Sabra Mesia found. You know, she was just doing runs of this game or something. And then she found out that you can save 3 minutes by just getting straight to it. Instead of, you know, having to get the green thing that lets you exit the bridge. You can just get to the bridge attractor. And essentially, there are multiple spots that work for being able to use the bridge attractor then there, because if Endra's position is bad, then that's actually bad news. You know, you don't want Endra's position to be bad for that. Like, if Endra's position is bad, you won't be able to enter that portal, and it will just be bad in general. So now we are just gonna make it to the final boss, which doesn't even trigger. But anyway, as I was mentioning about Endra's possession, at the end of Spider Room, you can actually just leave Endra there, and then when you use the bridge attractor, the portal will come straight to you, and they don't go off screen. So now you just wanna touch those buttons, obviously, and then turn on the bomb. And time is actually coming soon. Like, if you skip having your body stolen, which was the whole point of the sequence break earlier, like after Steps Breach, then you don't even have to do the final boss. And you have to be down there, close to the gate that you have to go through with the mist power-up in order to just exit the drone and then go as Syndra and go up there, and then just skip the final boss. And, well, yeah, that was the run, actually. Some parts were a little sloppy, but 2620 is actually a very good run. I'm actually happy with this submission run. And, well, essentially, yeah, that was the run. So, if you wanna learn more about this game, you can join the Axionverse speedrunning community, because they have a Discord. And there isn't just the Axionverse speedrunning communities. There's actually people who don't run the game and that actually play it there. Like you can actually talk with fellow Axenberg players there, but a part of that server is also the speedrunning community, and you can ask for help there if you wanna learn this game. And well, yeah, I don't have much left to say, but shoutouts to people such as License to Build, Captain Brian, Stricer86, Octoroad, Savera Mesia, Video Game Roulette, Libby with a double E and a double Y, you know, and many other people who actually helped with this game. And essentially, yeah, I guess I'm out. So, if there are other things to explain about the run that I didn't explain, it will probably be how we do the boomerang thing that I did in order to hit the switch early. So essentially what we do is we throw the boomerang and then we go down to deal on the laser door, and then we walk forward while it is off screen, and then we use the boomerang and attract it by touching it again, like touching the boomerang button, and then it actually goes towards us and spins around and hits the switch. And that is actually pretty sick, I must say, in general. And well, that being said, bye. That was my submission run right